The moment's gone now.
Without blank bits of paper.
Without blank bits of paper, reporting World Cinema, this is HMR.
Right, well, this time we've got two films for you, one by me and one by Richard. Mine is from Holland.
Holland. Oh, Holland.
Holland. And yours is from Denmark.
Denmark,
Yes.
apparently.
I'll let you kick yours.
I'll kick myself, mine. We'll kick off with mine, which
Yes.
is Valhalla Rising.
Uh-huh.
Now, I saw the title and I thought, brilliant. And you see the cover and you go, right, Vikings, kill, blood, stuff. And it's foreign as well. Brilliant. You did forewarn me.
I did.
And I took no notice because I thought, sod it.
You did.
I haven't watched anything else tonight. And so I put this film, Valhalla Rising, on, which stars Mads Mikkelsen, is that his name?
Yes, who plays Hannibal.
Yeah, he's the
in
new
the series.
he's the new Hannibal.
And he's also a bad guy, one of the villains in James Bond.
Yes, is it Quantum of Solace?
That's Quantum of Solace.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he plays this silent, like the rest of the film, a silent protagonist called One Eye, who is like a slave fighter who eventually breaks free of these like owners, if you will. It's set 1000 AD, and it's shot entirely in Scotland, which I think is a bad idea in the later scenes. But yeah, it follows One Eye as he breaks free of his captors, and this boy who used to feed him when he was imprisoned ends up following him, and they run into a group of crusaders intent on going to Jerusalem. Now I thought, this is a bit of a twist. Bear in mind, this is about 45 minutes into the film. It's a very, very, very slow film. There's not a lot of dialogue in it, and you could probably condense the film into about 40 minutes, and you wouldn't lose anything. Anyway, they go to Jerusalem, but they don't. They just end up in some strange land, and they all get bumped off. Now, it's like a very arty type film.
I think it was nominated for awards in certain
I think
like art.
Yeah, I think it won awards. Now, it's not really my kind of film because it starts off with fighting, like some pretty cool deaths, you know, that one with the rope. And so, you know, it sets it up and you think, oh great, you know, they're being quite quiet because there's like action and the people are just exchanging knowing looks, like, yeah, he's badass, yeah, things like that. But it turns out the what did you say? It was about
like 7 minutes worth of dialogue in the entire film.
Yeah, and like the budget was £4 million, $4 million pounds.
Dollars. It was $4 million.
I think it was a Danish film. It's in English and uses.
It was co-produced by the BBC Movies.
Yeah.
As well.
So we are classing it as foreign. Foreign. World. There was some foreigners.
Yeah, foreign to England anywhere where we'd come from. But
yeah, so it takes place in Scotland. It was filmed entirely in Scotland, and I thought it was strange that there was no settlements whatsoever. It's like entirely shot on like bleak looking moors, and I just felt like where they go and what they do, and because no one says anything most of the time, and you're not sure what where they're going and why. I mean, you get them, you know, later on when they say, right, we're crusaders, we're going to the Holy Land, you come with us, you'll be absolved of all these things.
When was it said?
1000 AD. Which crusade was that?
The Crusades hadn't even started then. I think 1066 was the Battle of Hastings.
Yeah. Yes, it's like there's a lot of symbolism, like because it's so quiet and there's look at this guy, and it's like flicks and strange cutting away and stuff. And the main character, One Eye, has these prophetic dreams, so he knows what's going to happen. And these dreams are usually in like a bright red, which is like contrast to everything, which is all bleak and grey. Which leads me to another thing. About the effects. I mean, there's not many effects because not much goes on in the film. But the blood effects I thought looked really bad. I mean, I know it's low budget, but
$4 million is not low budget though.
well,
I've seen some low budget films, and they were shot on a lot
but,
less.
But like just the way it's like, you know, a lot of things use CGI blood, and it's like you're like going, yeah, it doesn't look as good as if it was real. But with this, it's like someone gets hit by an accident, it's like CGI. I don't know if it was supposed to be, but it's a really vibrant red. I don't know if it was supposed to, if that was like a design choice.
What, like you would get basically out of 300.
Yeah, where it's like, so everything's in like that orange hue in 300.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like something that's so contrasting. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it just looks crap.
Yeah.
And also, there's a scene in a boat when they're supposedly traveling to Jerusalem, and they're stuck in an endless fog for the entire time that they're in this boat. And I know like a lot of people love this film and that, and like it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, watching it, and it's all very, you know, I can forgive some things that hasn't got that much of a budget, but for the entirety of this scene when they're in this boat, which could have lasted a lot, you know, they could have cut all of it out. Like, it just dragged, like a lot of the film, it dragged on for so long without anything happening, and they're just sitting in this boat, surrounded by a fog, and I'm just sat there going, well, they're just in a pool, aren't they? With like fog with smoke machines around them. You can see a bit of water, and then it just completely broke the immersion, because like it must have. I felt like it went on for about half an hour. This bit. I mean, it mustn't have. It must have been about 20 minutes or something, 15, 20 minutes. But the entire time I was like, they were in this boat, I was just like thinking, they're just in a tank with fog machines. It doesn't look at all good. And I was going to say something else now, and I've lost my train of thought. I've talked over, like, I've talked over my own thoughts now, and I can't bloody think, because I'm just getting wound up about this film. Immersion,
Boredom,
dragging on. I'm sure it has something to do with the boat. Oh yes, and when they're in the boat, they're just sitting in the boat, not doing anything, not acting like they're trying to get anywhere, or trying to find out where they're going, or where they should be going, or where they really are going in relation, like, you know, in a current or wind or anything. They're all just sitting there going, "Oh, I've been on this boat for ages, like, I don't want to be here." And like, you know, that's like one of those things what we're saying about, you know, when we're talking about things that we pick up on that adds to the immersion factor, like little things, you know, like gun
reloading your gun and shit
things like that.
Yeah.
If they'd just been acting like they were on a boat, like someone trying to see where they were going, someone rowing, or, I mean, they do row later on when they're in a river, someone setting a sail, or acting like they're actually on a boat, they're all just sat like they're on the bus, and I was like...
Whoa. Don't say buses, you know what I do.
You're a bus driver. You don't sit there on a bus going...
Well, I do sit, like, technically I do.
You don't sit there going, "I think we should kill him over there, like, I don't like him. I'm going to drink some of the sea." So yeah,
I do think some things like that.
I did try and like this film, but there was just too much. It just dragged on for so long, like my ramblings right now, and you know, it just seemed like, I don't know. It almost seemed like it was a bit up its own arse, really.
It is very
like it's just.
Look how arty we are.
Yeah,
you don't need a storyline.
I mean, I think there is some symbolism, like, in relation to, like, the main character and some Norse mythology, but you have to really think about it. And after you've watched the film, you really can't be bothered to think about it.
Just want to turn it off, have a cuppa and go to bed.
Yeah, it's like I started thinking, oh, maybe the main character is actually Odin, and he's brought all these people here to bring them to the deaths.
Valhalla.
Yeah, and...
say he was worthy and shit.
Yeah, because he builds himself a cairn, and then he leaves at the end. But it's just like nothing happened in the film, and like for a film that was nearly an hour and a half long, it should have been really about 40-45 minutes. And yeah, Strangely though, I couldn't stop watching it when it was on, but I was sat there for the whole time just. I mean,
I'll tell you one thing. Like, when I watched it, was when I was with Emily at the time, one of my ex-girlfriends. Yeah, just so everyone knows. Yeah. Hello, in case you're watching. Basically, it was. I put it on. She was like, "This is shit. This is after 5 minutes." I'm going. We'll just watch it.
This is after 5 minutes where someone's had his neck snapped, someone's had his brain bashed in, and by now you're going, "This is good."
She was going, "It was shit." She wasn't into these kind of films, and I'm going, "Right, just give it a chance. You know, let's just keep persevere with it and things like that."
Yeah,
and then
persevered.
We persevered through the whole film. And she goes, "You know, you should have just turned it off after 10 minutes." It's like, yeah, you should have, really, shouldn't I? Probably the only time she's ever right in our relationship.
But yeah, I mean, and then they get to this place and they go, "Right, where are we?" And you go, "Yeah, where are you?" Like, "Oh, this isn't Jerusalem." It's like, "Well, you can see that."
There's no sand.
There's no sand. There's no towns. There's no towns in the entire bloody film. And then it's like, these are primitives we're dealing with what? I'm like Indians or Aborigines or something like that. Something like that. Hold on, you look like you're still in Scotland. You still are. And I know it was filmed entirely in Scotland, but
well, they had to find a bleak, desolate place with barely any population. Why not film in Scotland?
yeah, but they could. I think they really should have changed the filming location for the second half of the film when they were in this vastly different land, which just wasn't.
Okay then, right. Sum it up. Well, you've pretty much summed it up as being like a very artsy, up its own arse, terrible film. What would you give it for a rating though? That's the main question.
Well, I thought actually, just before that, I was just thinking. You know the bit where they're all tripping balls at the end.
Yeah.
It's a bit like they're trying to do an Apocalypse Now, really, isn't it? It is.
Just slightly, yeah.
Also, there's hardly any music in it. It's a very quiet film. But yeah, that bit where it's got music building and everything's happening in slow motion, and one guy rapes another, and one's stabbing the water, and one's building some things, and one's splashing around, and one's sitting there going, "Fucking hell, man, I'm off my head," like. Anyway, rating. Four.
Fair enough, yeah.
I mean, I did like.
Slightly enjoy it. It's like a guilty pleasure kind of enjoy.
Yeah, but like I wanted to really like it, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, it started off, and like even at the start, where it's like, okay, he's a slave and he fights, and that's probably where the most dialogue probably happens. Where the most well, not really, but that's where the most action is, and it's like, even then, I wanted it to be more story. I wanted it to be more things happening. It was just, he was waking up and he was getting passed from one person to another.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, why is that happening? What's going on?
A bit more explanation to the story.
Just a bit more going on. It's like, well, we're just following some guy in his daily life, and yeah.
4 out of 10.
Yes, 4 out of 10. Based on critic reviews, there's going to be a lot of people screaming and disagreeing about that, but in truth, it was just a bit crap, really.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I've already watched it as well.
Yes, it was low budget, but it really did seem low. Shut up, relatively, but it really did seem low budget. Like I say, the boat scene, I just couldn't believe any of it. And then the second half of the film, when they're in another world, in another land, I just couldn't believe any of it. And then, why's that guy come back? He goes missing and he comes back painted in mud, a very orange mud what was it? I don't know.
Have we finished ranting now?
Yeah, I'm going to shut up now because the more I think about this film, I'm just going to get more annoyed. So, Valhalla Rising. If you want Viking action, give it a miss because it's crap.
Right, and that...
No, shut up. If you want Viking action, watch the first 5-10 minutes and then turn it off. Yeah.
Right, that brings me on to mine, which is called Canal, which means
They've
wench.
got the know-how
To do it. They actually, pretty much, they do have the know-how to defend the city. But Canal, it's a Dutch film from the Netherlands. and basically it's set during the Spanish.
The Crusades.
It's not the Crusades. The Spanish invasion of the Netherlands. Before it was actually the Netherlands. It was all separate kingdoms and shit
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
called Jerusalem.
Are we finished now?
But you
Right.
didn't get there.
No, they didn't get there.
It was
And
still in Scotland. Oh, you know, there's no women in that film either. There's just a bunch of
God.
naked women, like at one point, and then it's just like, look at these naked women over here.
Oh, there's
Right,
naked women in this one as well.
we're going to
So-
Jerusalem, just down the road.
Right.
Coming.
Canal.
I have to go and calm down.
Anyway, this film is basically a period drama / war film with a bit of a love story which goes really well with the film. It's from Netherlands and surprisingly it's really, really good. It is subtitled, unlike Richard's film while he's just simmering off in the corner there.
How come they're all apparently Danish, but they all have Scottish accents?
There we go again.
Like, I'm not talking about the characters, I mean the actors. I'm sure they're all Danish or Dutch.
Yeah, you're quite finished now.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, the film goes, it's basically the Spanish come up,
Who was the
besiege the
kid?
town, and then this woman who owns a boat building business rallies a load of people together, which are just normal citizens, a lot of being women, and basically helps defend the city. Pardon me. This is actually based on some truths, I do believe. From what I'm not sure because I haven't read up on it, to be perfectly honest. But the film itself is roughly about 2 hours long. And you get your money's worth with these 2 hours. There's plenty of fighting in it, there's some sex scenes,
Yeah.
and it's very well acted. So, yeah. I can't fault the film. Probably is in a couple of the battle scenes, even though they do use the props really well, it just doesn't seem to be on a very grand scale compared to the way they're describing it. You know, there's huge Spanish armies there, so you expect this to be a huge Spanish army where it's not. It's about 200 or 300 men. So yeah, but this is being given 4.5 stars out of 5, and it ain't that good, to be perfectly honest. You're looking probably around about, I'd be generous to say, a 6 out of 10. It's a decent foreign movie that will keep you entertained. It passes the time quite well. You don't get bored with it. Retrospectively, it is quite a big budget film coming from Holland, and I would love to know what it actually got in the Dutch box office, but I haven't researched that neither. I'm pretty much just winging this. Oh, here we are. No more
See,
Vikings.
You should have watched the film that made you really angry, and you would have like been able to. Go
Probably,
on.
but I actually enjoyed this, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You know, I wanted to find a film. This has just come out, so I thought I'd try and get a new one done rather than looking in the past.
Yes, reading on this and well, it's about foreign films, and I just went.
It's about world cinema, yes, foreigners.
I just see what the foreigners are doing.
Have you noticed, right? In all these things, you always go foreigners, foreigners, foreigners.
No,
It's like you come up with like this, like you're coming across as this right-wing nationalist.
Seeing what I'm looking at on my piece of paper that's actually written on my paper. It got Valhalla Rising has
There we
71% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
What did you watch? Wench.
Yeah. Canal.
How do you spell that in foreign?
Kenau. That's how you spell it in English, Tegus.
Wait a minute.
Kenau.
Hold on, Google's not working on my paper. Your Wi-Fi is not, well, it's not, my paper isn't connected to your Wi-Fi, so it's going really slow.
Alright. So yeah, that will do it for this part of world cinema before Silly Bollocks here gets distracted anymore. Do you want some Lego to play with? I think that's Elastic Band off, for fuck's sake. And I'll wrap it up there. That was 6 out of 10 for mine, which is Canal, and
4
out of 10 for Valhalla Rising, which is rather disappointing,
Yes.
to say the least. And that'll end it for this week's part of World Cinema. Say goodbye, Richard.
I want to watch a film that like doesn't make me bored and angry.
You chose it. I warned you.
Well,
You
yeah.
can't complain. I warned you.
Look, I can't complain because I watched the film.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't have watched the film. I said,
Look,
don't watch
look,
it. Shit.
look. We're British, right? We can complain about anything. We can complain that the weather's too hot. We can complain that the weather's too cold.
It's been rather sticky today. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
It's been horrible.
I was complaining a few days ago that I was only doing going on about films that I liked. Now that I've watched a film that I didn't like, I can now complain that I want to watch a film that I do like. Because we're British and that's what we do. We complain a lot.
Anyway, that'll do it for this episode.
Hello and welcome to...
See you all later. Say goodbye, Richard.
Bye, Richard.